Welcome back, agents. I hope you're all enjoying the Division 2, finding awesome loot, and exploring the end game hopefully by now. Good, because as you may be aware, the Division 2 features a few exotic weapons. Currently 4, outside of the ones that you can get through pre-orders and the Ultimate Edition. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at the Chatterbox Exotic SMG. And I'm not really going to go super into how to get the thing, because there are so many articles and videos already doing that. I'm here to tell you if it's worth using or not, and when and where it may or may not be strong. Okay, so some basic stats first on this exotic SMG. I would recommend getting it at World Tier 4, where you have the fully upgraded bench, and you can get it up to 440 gear score. Now it comes with the 14.5% critical hit chance increase. That's bog standard. Its damage is 8.2 thousand per bullet at 700 RPM, and it has a huge mag of 60 rounds. Its accuracy is between low and medium. It's really nothing great, but its stability is great. Really good stability here. The reload time 1.6 seconds, critical strike range of 0 to 30 meters, and the damage drop-off is, well, it's what you would expect from an SMG. I will say this though, because its accuracy isn't completely terrible and its stability is really high and it has the, well, average optimal range, you can still pick people off even if they're 20 feet away. The damage will be a little lower, but it's still doable. Now let's get into the meat and potatoes of the gun and discuss why this SMG is definitely worth building or making a build on. So, these perks, pretty good. Its first one, Incessant Chatter. Every shot landed grants 1% rate of fire to a max of 60%, and then this resets on reload. So what that means is that every shot that you hit out of that 60 mag is going to increase your RPM by 7, maxing out, I believe, at, I think, 1120 or 1140. I don't have my calculator up in front of me, but it's one of those two, so a lot. By the time you're at your last 20 bullets here, it's fast, like really fast. And okay, here's the next part that makes it even better. The box magazine talent, which is the next one, kills with this weapon refill 20% of its magazine and grants a buff for 10 seconds. So 20%, that's like what, 12 rounds? Okay. The buff for 10 seconds though, now this is the kicker. While the buff is active, every shot landed increases magazine capacity by 1 to a max of 60, and then killing a target while you're buffed consumes the buff to fully refill the increased magazine. So what this means is, you could be shooting a guy and killing him after you put 50 rounds into him. You kill him while you're buffed at 10 rounds left. Bam, shoot you up to like 70 or 80, because you're not only getting the 20% reload, but every single bullet that you use to kill the guy also gets reloaded back into your thing. And I've seen it go as far as like 80, 85. And the best part is, as you're doing all of this killing, you haven't actually reloaded yet, you just keep getting more ammunition, which means your RPM is maxed out this whole entire time. And as long as you're not fighting like elite after elite or named after named, you can keep this basically infinite ammo going and 1100 something RPM, like constantly. And it chews through enemies, especially on a solo or duo experience. If you go into 3s, and especially 4s, it's going to be a little harder, because once they start getting to the veteran and elite level, it takes your entire magazine to burn one out. And then the last talent on this exotic SMG is one that affects your other guns, and this is kind of a reoccurring trend that I have noticed on a lot of the other exotic weapons. This one is called Blabbermouth, and while holstered, reloading your weapon within 5 seconds after a kill grants 20% rate of fire for 10 seconds. So bam, that's a DPS increase for any other gun that you're using. Good for an LMG, or an assault rifle, or one of the semi-auto rifles, hell, even a shotgun. Now, when making a build around the Chatterbox, I would wholeheartedly recommend going the Grenadier specialization, because you get that extra 15% SMG damage if you perk into that part of the tree that's on the left side right from the get-go. And then of course building lots of crit chance, lots of crit damage, especially anything that would increase your SMG damage or weapon damage as a whole, or even optimal range. My build is something like that, and I went into the shooting range to do a little bit of testing. Now for DPS, it varied depending on the enemy and the distance, but if I could get, say, a named enemy that was close enough, I was doing something like 400,000 DPS, and that was at World Tier 4 at 450 gear score, with all of my shots hitting or at least aiming at the head. Now, I did mention previously that if you're doing solo content or even duos or threes, this is a great weapon to use. It's only when you get to 4s or when you're put into a position where you can't burst down enemies in a quick enough fashion that this gun starts to become a little less desirable over something that hits a little more evenly in terms of DPS. For example, I see this SMG doing decently in PvP, but it wouldn't be the best thing to use. You know, it wouldn't be like a meta gun in my eyes, only because you wouldn't really be able to use the buff at all. Like, maybe if you killed a guy, you know, you get 12 rounds back, but there's not much you can do with that. You can't immediately go burst another guy down without reloading, and so you're never going to be able to capitalize on that buff unless you're doing the DZ, in which case the odds of you, like, say, killing a player and then having enough ammo to burst down an NPC real quick, and then, yeah, no, that's probably going to be pretty rare. But even then, in a 4-man squad and you're doing a stronghold or something, or hell, even the raid, and you're taking on an elite or a named, there's a good chance that if all of your shots hit on the head or are close, that you'll be able to drain all of their shields and do a lot of damage, or just kill them outright without having to reload once. And that's why the exotic Chatterbox SMG is worthwhile to be used and to have builds crafted around. And finally, a quick word about finding this thing. It's one of the few exotics that don't drop from enemies at the end of strongholds and missions on challenging. So what you're going to want to do is go into the sewers and collect keys from those little lockboxes that are on the walls. They're just kind of everywhere, kind of random. There are better paths than some, but what you're looking for are the hyena keys. And you're going to want to collect more than a few of these, because you're going to be opening little lockboxes that are based on the hyena faction, and you're going to want to be collecting 3 different parts, and each part is in its own region, and they are region locked. So the loaded canister, which is one part, is found exclusively in hyena crates in the downtown east. And then after you have the loaded canister, you're going to want to get the creative mag, and in the same manner you're going to want to find hyena crates in the federal triangle. And then finally, you'll need to find the modified mods from hyena crates within the judiciary square. And now that you have all 3 pieces, all you have left to do is get the blueprint. So then you head downtown west and play the bank headquarters mission on challenging difficulty, and then a new crate will appear in the vault as long as you have the 3 components, and it will drop the Chatterbox blueprint every time. So there you have it, one of the strongest SMGs in the game. It's cool, it looks cool, it's fun to use. Go find it, go get it. I think you will love it. And hopefully there's more than 4 overall exotics in the game. I think there's a total of 8. Hopefully most of them drop. I'm not a huge fan of like finding the pieces and crafting it personally, because it's a looter shooter, but nitpicking. Anyway, hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment down below and let me know what you think. Do you have the Chatterbox? Do you use it? What kind of build do you use? I would love to know, and we can talk shop about that. Hit that like button before you go, subscribe for more Division 2 content and some VR stuff, and I will see you next time.
Target down. Good job.